All right. Welcome, everybody. Thanks very much for coming. Thanks also for your coverage all through the pandemic. I know that wasn't easy, and so we appreciate that, and it's good to be getting back to something a little closer to normal. We are here to announce a new 5-year contract for our general manager, Doug Armstrong. And I will say that I could not be more pleased. As you all know, Doug is one of the top GMs in the league, in my view, the top GM. And I'm just really happy to have him committed to the Blues for the next 5 years. Doug's record speaks for itself. Over the last 11 years here, he has the most wins of any GM in the NHL. He's guided us to 9 postseason appearances, 3 division titles, 1 conference title, and of course, he is the man who put together the team that won the Blues' first Stanley Cup. Beyond that, he's won a cup in Dallas. He's won 5 gold medals in international play, and just more recently, he's been chosen to be the GM of Team Canada in the upcoming Olympics. So that is quite a record. As I said, the best in the business, in my view. So I want to congratulate Doug, say thank you for your commitment to the Blues and for your trust in me. And I'm just really happy that you and Kelly will be key members of the organization for at least the next 5 years. I would just also observe that the Blues organization is really fortunate to have exceptional people leading the 2 sides of our organization. Doug as president of hockey operations and Chris Zimmerman as president of business operations. We are in very good hands, and we are well positioned for the future.
Thank you, Tom. Again, on behalf of Kelly and myself, I want to thank you and your partners for allowing us to continue here for the next 5 years. When we came here in 2008 as a manager, you're hoping. I was hoping to get my kids through high school. I've actually got them through college now, so it's nice to be here. When I look back on my career starting in Minnesota, then we transferred to Dallas. I've been with 2 organizations. I'm not big into change in that fashion, so being here for another 5 years is exciting. Obviously, I'd like to thank the coaches and the players. The hard work that they do is really what sets this organization apart, what they've been able to do over the last decade, and of making us one of the top teams in the NHL, allowing us to continue to push to stay in that echelon over the next 5 years and beyond is exceptional. So to you and your partners, thank you very much, and we're looking forward to staying here.
Questions?
Tom, for you, it's unusual for GMs to last as long as in one place as Doug has. I'm sure Doug's well aware of that. Just what is it about his style and maybe his work ethic that has led to that here?
I think probably that would take too long to answer that, but I will say that on his work ethic, he never stops working. He never stops thinking about things. When you guys have heard that, well, we're always trying to improve the team, and you think that's kind of just trying to put you off. It is 24/7 for him. But I mean, beyond all the things that you might think of normally, one of the things that distinguishes Doug is that he so clearly puts the organization and its future first, and to the point of making moves that might not be good for where he stands in his current contract, but he's doing and pushing us to do things that will be better for the long term of the organization. So he has just shown tremendous creativity, energy, analysis. Really uses his the rest of the management staff well. Great relationships with the coaches, very well respected around the league. So I could go on, but it all adds up to being an exceptional general manager.
this one could really go for either one of you, but now that you've guaranteed more than a decade, maybe even a decade and a half of continuity at the top of the hockey operations, just how does that continuity benefit an organization?
Well, from a hockey perspective, I think when you're trying to recruit free agents, when you're trying to get your own players to stay, they want to know there's a vision there. They want to look at the track record and believe that they're going into a program that's sustainable, that has some understanding of where they're going to go and how they're going to get there. So I think it's important to have continuity. People do change things out. Players get changed, managers get changed, coaches get changed. But that's always our last avenue that we like to take. We're pretty simple. We like to dance with the people we take to the dance. And that's coaches, players, and everyone as much as possible. In an industry where change is inevitable, you have to make decisions, but they're all based on trying to do it in a professional way that the players accept that and understand that. And I think the continuity is at the foundation of that.
I mean, I would just add to that. I mean, it's self-evident that you don't want to be changing horses and changing strategies very often. You bring a new person in, a different view, maybe we should go this direction, and then all the things that you've done to build what you have and set in motion for the future, maybe that doesn't work as well. So I think it's a big advantage to have that continuity.
Question for both of you. First for Doug, if you don't mind, and then for Tom. Doug, you've shown that you're not afraid to take risks or think out of the box. To you, can you explain that philosophy, how it developed over the years? And for you, Tom, does that philosophy ever make you nervous?
Well, I think learning from Bob Clark and Bob Gainey when I started out, two tremendous players that got into management and were always thinking they played as team first players, and they manage as team first people. And I think that's at the forefront of everything we do, is what is best for the St. Louis Blues organization. And sometimes difficult decisions have to be made. And I think I'm fortunate to be surrounded by great hockey people throughout my tenure over my career, and being able to push and prod and understand and try and get as many different points of view on things. There's no really cookie cutter way to do this. You have to try and be creative. Sometimes you have to make unpopular decisions. You have to be able to sell that to the group on why we know it's unpopular, but here's the vision on why we're doing it. And quite honestly, I think our players, for the most part, understand that the method behind the madness, and they just want to make sure that we're trying to do our best every day to give them the best opportunity to win a Stanley Cup. That's why they play. Obviously, the economics are great, but they all want to be part of winning organizations. And I think if we have to go outside the box to do that, we're willing to do it.
I'd say it's not something that makes me uncomfortable. In fact, it is very well aligned with the way I like to do things. I guess I'd say if I were terribly risk adverse, I wouldn't have gotten into this back in 2012. So, no, I'm very much in line with that type of an approach.
Doug, how has this job changed as a NHL general manager, and how have you changed over that time that you've been in this job?
Well, it's evolved obviously with the salary cap. I remember working in Dallas as an assistant manager, and we had an $80 million payroll. That's what we have today. And so things have changed quite a bit, and you're back to the same payroll. But the free agency has changed, the number of professional scouts and amateur scouts you have, the number of media that you deal with. I would say the biggest changes come with technology, the internet, cell phones, instant gratification, or instant rebuttal of your decisions on Twitter right now. It's evolved, and I think I do read quite a bit of Twitter. I do read quite a bit of what people are thinking, not to guide me to make decisions, but you like to have a feel for what's going on around you. Then you have to make the best decisions. But I also, when I first began, I had a chip on my shoulder. I wanted to believe that I belonged. I was taking over for Bob Gainey. We had won a Stanley Cup. I had not played in the NHL, and now I'm much more comfortable understanding that it's about the players. It's always been about the players and always will be about the players. And my job is to support them and give them the best chance to have success. And I think working behind the scenes and not trying to get out in the forefront of those things has worked for me well. Some people are much more comfortable being the center of attention. My belief as the manager, I think being in the background and allowing things to play themselves out. I know it's sometimes difficult because in today's world where you need instant information to critique things, our approach is just to let the dust settle a little bit, and the news cycles now are every 12 to 24 hours, and we don't want to work in that type of format. So it's everything's evolved a little bit, and hopefully I've evolved with it as our staff has.
Doug, nobody can take away from the fact that you're a winner. The team's a winner. The organization is a winner. But when you're put in these situations again, is there that sense of unfinished business still, knowing that you've been at the top and that you've reached where you want to reach? But is there still that sense of unfinished business whenever your ownership renews your contract and brings you back on the job?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's unfinished business. It's more of getting up and wanting to be better than we were yesterday. And again, I do believe it's the players' game, and Jordan Kyrou hasn't won a Stanley Cup yet. Torrey Krug hasn't won a Stanley Cup yet. There's a lot of guys that haven't won a Stanley Cup, and I want to help them reach their ultimate goals. And there's a lot of people on our staff that want to win their first Stanley Cup. And then when we do that, there'll be another reason to do it again. And so I just love what I do, and I love being part of something that's way bigger than me. I love working with people that have the passion to be the best in their industry, whether it's our medical staff, whether it's our equipment staff, whether it's our coaches, our scouting staff. You see the passion that they have, and I get an opportunity to see it every day. We're at the Centene in the summer, and I see Ray Borelli in there working with Oscar Sundquist. Lots of guys think you just turn it off in the summer, you don't. And so I love the passion our group brings, and that excites me every day.
Doug, it's almost a year-round thing for you guys now. How do you keep from burning out, from kind of frying on the job? It seems like it's almost nonstop. How do you stay fresh?
I think, quite honestly, because I don't find it stressful. I don't know why. I love what I do. I love being in the fire, I guess, and some nights you wish things go differently. I think the hardest times are the disappointment when things don't go the way that you've expected them to go, and it builds your resolve to try and figure out why it didn't happen that way, what I should have done differently to get the outcome that we want. But on a day-to-day basis, I love getting up early, and I love going to the Centene and having a coffee and walking around and talking to guys who are sitting in my office and watching the guys skate and get on the computer and watch some video. And I'm glad I've signed now, but it's not really a job.
I don't know, Doug. You look a little stressed after some of the losses, right?
Yeah, well, I don't know if that's stress or just more anger. No, you get. To me, it's not stress. You just want to do well. You want to do well for everyone, and you want to do well for the players. And of course, you're competitive. When you lose in pickleball, you're angry. If you're a competitor, you're a competitor, and you don't want to lose at anything.
Tom, just a little off topic, but you haven't played a game yet, but you've seen the offseason. You see what the roster looks as of today. Who knows what he'll do tomorrow? But what do you think of the makeup of the team right now as we sit here right now?
I'm very happy with it, very encouraged by what we have. I think Doug has done a great job of adding some pieces, and we also have some young players who are hungry and are coming along. So, you've seen the practices; they've been very, very fast-paced, very intense. I think for early practices, so I'm really optimistic.
Doug, was this a quick process to getting this extension done?
Yeah, Tom and I talk, I don't say every day, but at least 3 or 4 times a week, and it just comes up, but it was never something that was on that this isn't my first contract with Tom. I think it's my third. So they come in, when you talk about them, it wasn't something that either of us were stressed out about. It just, timing was right when we got down to it, and it got done.
Yeah, Tom, I was going to ask you that. Was there any sense of timing where you wanted to get this out of the way before the season started so he can focus on, the hockey team moving forward?
Well, I guess that's always good to do, but we weren't on some urgent deadline or anything like that, and we've worked together for a long time now, and our conversations sometimes are stepping back and looking at the future, and how long do we want to do this? What's ahead for the league? Where so the root of it was some bigger, broader conversations like that, not we got to get something done, and we have some deadline, or something's going to expire. We just didn't have that.
Hey, Doug, this doesn't seem like the uncomfortably comfortable or comfortably uncomfortable negotiations you talk about with players. A much simpler deal.
Yeah. I wanted to stay in St. Louis. My family was happy here, and I get to what Tom said, though. I wanted to make sure that Tom felt and his partners felt that I was the right person for the next 5 years. As you said, there's change in this industry, and what I don't want to do is be someone that they don't believe can deliver the goods moving forward. And I wasn't looking for a pat on the back or reassurances. It's just we talked about fresh voices, and at the end of the day, I think I can continue to evolve, and I think Tom agreed with that, and so we decided to move forward.
Doug, as you look at yourself and maybe self-evaluate, are there any things you'd like to do better or improve on as a manager?
Yeah, there's always things that you'd like to do better. Communication skills are always things that I'd like to try and improve on. Working with the coaches, our minor league situation. But I think as I want to continue to try and evolve and give back more to our scouting staff, give back more to our coaching staff, the people around the game. I turned 57 yesterday, and this is my 31st camp. So I've been more than half my life doing this, and there's so many experiences I feel comfortable sharing now with people on so they can grow. I'm at one part of my career, and there's people I work with upstairs right now, Ryan Miller, for an example, that's just starting out, and I want to be able to share with Ryan and Ben and Mike up in our office that on how things get done. Troy Brower's upstairs right now. He's going to scout for us this year for the first time, and there's a guy I'm looking forward to sharing things with. So there's always things behind the scenes that I'm much more comfortable now trying to share my experiences, but also I got to work too. I'm not here just to share experience and tell war stories. I got a job to do.
Since we got you here, just your thoughts. What will Logan Brown bring, and why trading Zach Sanford?
Yeah, well, thank you for bringing that up. I'd like to thank Zach Sanford for his time here. He came in a big trade, and one of those uncomfortable ones where I think he got traded, and then his team won the Cup relatively quickly in Washington. So it was nice to be able to get a Stanley Cup when he was here. It was something that was made out of necessity, not out of desire, in the sense that when we made our qualifying offers this summer, we didn't know what was going to happen with Bozak. We didn't know if we were going to be able to sign a free agent. We didn't know we were going to trade for Buchnev. So there was all those things. And then at the end of the day, you added up, and the cap was 81, and we were 83. And it's as much having to get cap compliant. And in doing that, we wanted to bring back a player that we saw upside in. Logan's obviously he's a big man. He's 6'6", can play center and left wing. Drafted, I think, 11th overall, so he's got pedigree. Everyone evolves and matures at a different time, and he needed a fresh start. I think Ottawa felt he needed a fresh start, and we were the recipient of being able to do that right now. And so we're looking forward to getting him in here. I don't want to say where he's going to play or who he's going to play with. That's up to the coach, and that's also up to Logan to get here. But our guys are familiar with him. He skated. It's the one great, or not one. It's one of the greater things about having all those young players here, whether it's the Chucks or Frederick or Logan. These guys are now skating with our players in the summer now, so we get to see them out with our guys get to know them. So I think for Logan, it's the transition, not only in his personal life coming up and not having to stay at a hotel, but can bunk back in at his dad's house and then being able to come to the rink and know a lot of the guys on the team. So the long answer is that we're excited to give a young player an opportunity.
And since you're here, Tom, I think no matter what kind of COVID policy you came up with for their fans at Enterprise, some people on whatever side were going to be upset. Are you comfortable with the plan? I assume you are, but just why?
I am comfortable with the plan. It was the result of a good, 4 to 6 weeks of thought and careful consideration. And in the end, we felt that this was the best thing to do to protect the health of our fans, our staff, our players, and the community. We realized that some fans, some ticket holders would be unhappy, and we're trying to work with them and see what we can do for them. At the same time, we also knew that a number of people would be more comfortable coming if we did have these rules, and I think we're seeing more of that than the negative reaction. So we have to make a decision. We thought that and still think that is just the right way to go.
And one last thing for me now, we think we're kind of out of COVID, but you'll at least be playing to full houses. After 2 years of COVID hockey, financially it had to be tough on the organization. How did the organization come out of it, and do you see brighter days ahead?
I do see brighter days. It was a tough period for us, but we're going to weather it. We're going to be okay. We've worked hard, in the years before that in getting ourselves to a position of financial viability. So we had, a good foundation going in. We'll be paying some debts for a while, but we're okay.
Thanks, everybody. Take care. Enjoy the
Thank
game
you.
tonight.